The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Welcome. It is Wednesday, October 3rd. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. And it's Wednesday, so we have finally put a bow on week 4, and now we move on to week 5. Wednesday is the official start of the NFL work week for most teams. If you play on Thursday, your week has to be expedited. So you may start on Monday, but it's really the start of the work week for the NFL. You finally have put the last week behind you, and now you're starting to look forward to your upcoming matchup coming up on your next week's game. And so I've put week 4 behind me. It was a very successful week for myself. I did not win the football pool. I was there, and that Monday night game, just too many points were being scored, too many turnovers. And that got out of hand, and so I didn't win the football pool. But it was a productive week for me. Got my record back on track. The lab is now 11 games over 500, and that's comfortable, but we need more. And so I set out this week to continue to ascend, and it starts today. It starts Wednesday. And so we're going to go over the Sole Survivor today. Give you a winner, a sole survivor for your survivor pool. Give you the team that's going to win this week. Give you the game that you need to focus in on, and let you know that if you're going to play in a survivor pool, you have to be smart about your picks, and you have to be able to analyze and break these games down and make sure that you're picking the absolute best game, the best game that gives you the best chance to pick a single winner and give you a chance to advance to the next week. So let's get into the Sole Survivor.
Everyone can pick, but only one can win. Are you the Sole Survivor?
So as we take a look at the week 5 slate of games, this is really our first glance at the schedule for week 5 in the lab room. And so we'll go over them one by one, tell you what you need to know about these games. We won't go over them in extensive detail. We'll just go over them to let you know if this is a good idea, a good option for you to select this game as your sole survivor, and we'll move on and we'll tell you which one is the best option for you to go and what team to pick. And so we start our search for the sole survivor in St. Louis, where the Arizona Cardinals travel to St. Louis to take on the Rams. Family business. You know how I feel about family business. You know the rules about family business. So you know the rules to the game, then play. And the rules to the game say you stay away from family business at all costs. If you must go near family business like last week was an exception. You needed to go and jump into some family business and be nosy. And it almost got you burnt. You never were really close to losing if you picked the Ravens last week, but it was closer than it needed to be. Probably had you sweating a bit. No need, though. The Ravens had it all the way. But that's another example of why you need to stay away from family business. I only make, exceptions. I make small exceptions. I don't make many. I make few exceptions for family business. I usually don't dabble in anybody's family business. I stay out of it. It's not of any of my concern. And so this is another prime example of that. Rams, Cardinals, two teams that are in the same division. They know each other very well. They know each other's tendencies. Might be a little bit different for the Cardinals this time around because the Rams have a new head coach, have a new way of going about things, but there's film out on them, so they'll be watching it and preparing for the St. Louis Rams. The Rams are at home. You know how I feel about teams at home. The Cardinals are probably a better team here, but you don't want to go sniffing for a W on the road. Hard to do in this league. They're hard to come by on the road. You know that. Stay away from this game. I'm warning you. Stay away from this family business affair. It will get you in trouble. It's the Thursday night game, and it's just a hard game to pick in general. So I don't think you would want to touch this game with a 10-foot pole. We move on to the Sunday slate of games where we find ourselves in Indianapolis as the Colts found out some very, very disturbing news this week, finding out that their head coach, Chuck Pagano, will have to undergo some procedures to try to remove leukemia from his system. And it is a very treatable form that he has, so that is good news in itself. However, still out of nowhere, still kind of disheartening to hear. Hope that he is able to come back from this. Hope he is able to regain full strength and be himself and live a healthy and normal life after all of these procedures. Let's keep Chuck Pagano in our prayers as he undergoes these procedures to try to help him rid his body of that leukemia. Now the Colts on the field are coming off of a bye. And so teams off a bye are scary. You always have to watch out for teams who have had 2 weeks to prepare for their opponent. That is the case with the Colts this week as they are taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are the better team here. There's no doubting that. I don't think you're going to find too many people that are going to question that. However, they have not been playing flawless football this year, and they're a team that at times can be beaten. Not saying that Andrew Luck and that Indianapolis Colts team is ready to beat these Green Bay Packers, but anything can happen in the NFL. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen it this year. So I wouldn't advise you to mess with this game either. Colts coming off a bye. This Packers defense can be had. Andrew Luck is a rookie. I expect that defense to be able to give him some looks, to confuse him and force him into some end throws, maybe get a little bit of pressure on him. But you don't want to touch this game if you don't have to. If you were to go this route, I would give you my blessing. I don't have a problem with you picking this game, but I wouldn't pick this game because there is a better option. And so if you've already exhausted that option, then you might be able to come here. But we'll go down the list and you'll see why I said what I said. But if you wanted to take this game, you have my blessings. If you don't take this game, you'd be a smart person because there is better options down this sheet. So we move on, and you find the Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. Really, this is another no-brainer. Had I not selected the Chiefs already a week ago, the Ravens a week ago, I probably could go with the Ravens here. I don't like picking road teams, however. You know how I feel about that. But the Chiefs stink. And the Ravens will have no problem disposing of these Kansas City Chiefs, as the San Diego Chargers did a week ago. And so I have no qualms about this game whatsoever. I feel like the Ravens are going to go in here and take care of business. And I think the Chiefs are a team that is reeling right now. And I was hoping that win in New Orleans would spark something for them and Romeo Crennel would get that thing turned around. They just stink. They need a new quarterback. And they need to find out what's going on with that defense because they are getting gashed. And they're turning the football over too many times. You can't win in this league turning the football over. They turned it over 6 times last week. They just stink. And so if you wanted to go here, again, you have my blessings here. And if you haven't selected the Ravens, I would say, hey, have at it. But there's still yet a better game than this one. And so while this game is very enticing, and if you wanted to take this one, I wouldn't have any disagreement there. There's still yet a better game, and we'll get to it eventually. But if you wanted to go this route, you could do that. Our next game on the slate, the Dolphins traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Here, I feel like the Bengals are the better team, and they should win this football game. But the Dolphins have been getting close each and every single week. And so I would keep a close eye on the Dolphins because the Bengals can be scored upon. And they made some mistakes last week against Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's not a good football team. They weren't able to take advantage of those mistakes. But watch out for the Dolphins. Not saying they're going to win this game, but I wouldn't want to go there and say that I'm guaranteeing. Because when you pick a sole survivor, you're essentially guaranteeing that this team is going to win. I wouldn't guarantee that the Bengals are going to win this game. Not 100% sold on them yet. I told you that coming into the season I wasn't sold on them. They're winning me over slowly, though. They're winning me over. Haven't bought stock in them yet because I really haven't been impressed with their level of competition that they've played to this point. But they've won ball games. All you can do is beat the teams that they put in front of you. And so they're 3-1 right now. So you have to like the Cincinnati Bengals. But this Dolphins team is better than their 1-3 record says. And that's surprising because they're under a new head coach, Joe Philbin. They don't have, they're not oozing with talent, but they're well coached. And the talent that they do have shines. And they're getting it done. And Ryan Tannehill is playing solid football as a rookie quarterback. And so I wouldn't go there if I were you. I wouldn't go there. Philadelphia Eagles at Pittsburgh Steelers. Need I say more? That's not a game that you go sniffing at, and that's not a game that you go asking for trouble. That's a game that you stay as far away as possible from because that's an evenly matched game between two teams who can win this ball game. Either one of these teams could. The Steelers are coming off of a bye, and so that makes them extremely dangerous. They're getting healthier. Palomalu, Harrison, and running back Rashad Mendenhall all could be back in this football game. The Eagles are 3-1 on the season and are looking to try to improve on their mark. No, I'm going to leave it at that. No, leave this game alone. I'm going to leave it alone, as should you. Atlanta Falcons at the Washington Redskins. Falcons are the better team here. And that Redskins defense is so anemic that this Falcons offense might have already scored a touchdown in that game. And it hasn't even started yet and won't start for another 4 days. But that's how bad that Redskins defense is. That's how good that Atlanta Falcons offense is. But it's a road game, and this Washington Redskins team is a lot better than people think, and they can score points. This Atlanta Falcons defense will give up points. And so don't touch this game. Not really one that you want to go near. It's not necessary. There are better games on the docket than this one. Stay away. If you are listening clearly, hear me now, hear me later. The Cleveland Browns are going to the New York Football Giants. This is your lock of the week. This here is where you will find your sole survivor of week 5. Hear me clearly now. Cleveland Browns going to New York to take on the Giants. That is going to be your sole survivor. The Cleveland Browns are a team desperate for a win. They don't have any talent. They're still trying to find their way. They're on the road against a team who is steaming off of a loss that they probably think they should have been able to get on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles in that division. And so the Giants go home foaming at the mouth, starving for a victory. They want one in the worst way. So these Cleveland Browns are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they're going to be at the scene of the crime, and they're going to be the victims in this one. The Giants are going to take out their frustration and anger on the Cleveland Browns. This Browns team has a long way to go before they start winning football games and winning them consistently. And they have a long way to go before they can start going on the road and getting W's. It's going to be a while before they see their first win. And when they do get it, it'll be at home. It's not going to be on the road. They're not battle tested enough to go into somebody's home stadium and come out with a W. That's not who they are right now. That's not in their DNA makeup. And so this Cleveland Browns team, they're going to fight, but it's going to be in a losing effort. The New York Giants are going to defeat the Cleveland Browns this week. And if you're looking for a sole survivor, look no further than the New York Giants taking out the Cleveland Browns at home. This New York Giants football team will win this football game. This is your sole survivor. Take it and run with it. We'll continue to go down the slate, though, anyway, just so you know that this is your best option. The Seattle Seahawks traveled to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Panthers were so close to winning last week against the Atlanta Falcons on the road. It's not even funny. They're a Cam Newton fumble away from winning that ball game. And so that tells you all you need to know is that this Carolina Panthers team, when healthy, Jonathan Stewart played last week. Let's hope he can play for a second consecutive week. And when Cam Newton is running the football, being a dual threat, this team is dangerous. Seattle Seahawks laid an egg last week against the St. Louis Rams. The Rams were home, family business. They went in there and thought the Rams were going to lay down. They did not, and they didn't come out with the victory. And so now they're looking for a big W, a bounce-back win, so to speak. And so this is a game between two teams looking to try to get a victory after coming off of tough losses against divisional opponents a week ago. Stay away. Stay away. Chicago Bears at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's another interesting game. If you were looking for an alternate, I would tell you could come here as well. The Bears are the superior team in this matchup. The Jaguars are a team who they don't score points. They're anemic on the offensive end. Blaine Gabbert is still trying to find his way. He's doing a lot better than he was last year. But still, I mean, there was a lot of room for growth after the season he had last year as a rookie. And so him doing better this year could mean a lot, or it could be saying nothing at all because he was so bad last year. And so this Jacksonville Jaguars offense is in transition. They're at a crossroads, really. They have a rookie quarterback. They have Maurice Jones-Drew, who's still getting back in shape. I mean, he missed all of camp. He's played the first 3 or 4 games of the season, but he wasn't effective last week. And so you don't know what you're getting out of this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. On defense, the Jaguars are a team that's going to fight to the end, but it's not going to be enough. That offense for the Jaguars isn't going to do enough. That defense is going to be on the field too many times, too often, for too long, and they're going to give up points. This Bears team is better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to be able to force turnovers on defense, get the ball to Cutler in that offense. Stay away from this game. Bears are better. Bears are going to take care of business. Again, they're on the road, so that's why this isn't if the Bears were home, this probably could be potentially your sole survivor. But they're on the road, so you stay away. But if you wanted this one, you have my blessings again. I wouldn't steer you away from this one because the Bears should win this game, and they should win it handily over the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the sole survivor pick that I gave you, let me remind you, the Giants are home and they're playing the winless Cleveland Browns, a team that's not ready to win on the road. Why would you want to pass that up? They're serving it up to you. Take it. Run with it. The Denver Broncos traveling to the New England Patriots. So this would make it Manning versus Brady 8, 9, 7, somewhere in there. Stay away. Bills at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco destroyed the Jets on the road 34-0 a week ago. Bills lost 52-28 a week ago at home against the Patriots, which seemed like an ideal fit for you to take the San Francisco 49ers. And I wouldn't be one to argue with you. But the Bills are a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde team. They can score points in bunches. We know the San Francisco 49ers are not a team that's going to light up the scoreboard. Last week was an aberration. They're not a team that's going to score 30 often. They're going to score 23 points, 26, 19, 22, somewhere in that vicinity. And they're going to keep you down. Well, the Bills can score points. The one glaring problem with the Bills is that they like to turn the football over. Ryan Fitzpatrick has no problem throwing 3 picks, and the rest of the team has no problem fumbling an additional 2 times. And so this 49ers team is probably going to feast off of Bills' turnovers and mistakes. This is a feast or famine defense, and they feast off of turnovers, and they cause you to be famine when they're done on the offensive side of the football. And so the Bills aren't going to win this game. But there's a better game on the slate, and I've told you what it was. and that's the Giants beating the Browns. If you wanted to go here, why not? That's a fine selection. But the Bills can score points, and that's always a risky proposition when playing against a team that doesn't like to score points. And so I tell you to be cautious if you're going to select this game. Be wary of what you're getting yourself into, because the Bills can score 27. Can the 49ers do that? Yes. Will they do that? Probably not. Will the Bills score 27 this week? Probably not. So you're probably safe, but just remember that option is always there. The Bills can score 27, and that's why you probably want to leave this game alone. Tennessee Titans traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Tennessee has been abysmal on the road this year. The Vikings have been a perfect 2-0 at home this year. And so while this game could be one that you can say, hey, I could take the Vikings. The Vikings are 3-1, but they're still not an established dominant team. Don't get carried away and get lost in the hype of the Vikings being 3-1. They have flaws. Okay? They can lose and probably will lose at some point at home this season. Don't think the Titans are going to be the team to do it. But you don't want to be the one to try to be the hero and pick the Minnesota Vikings. And you don't want to be the one to find out that they're not legit or that they had a letdown. You don't need to go exploring and try to prove points. Leave this game alone. It's not necessary. The Vikings are probably going to be a lot better than most of us thought. I know for sure. They've already exceeded my expectations for them this year. But there's no reason to go dabbling in this game if you don't have to. I still need to see more from this Vikings team. I'm impressed with what I saw thus far, but I need to see more. And with Hasselbeck at quarterback and a week to prepare, this Titans team could be dangerous this week. You don't know what you're getting out of Hasselbeck at quarterback. He could light them up for 38 points this week en route to a 38-20 victory on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Highly unlikely, but it could happen. And because that could happen, there is reasonable doubt. So you don't pick this game. Our Sunday night game is the San Diego Chargers going to New Orleans to square off against the New Orleans Saints. Two teams that like to score points and two teams who don't mind giving them up. You never want to involve yourself in a shootout. If it's a gunfight, you stay out of it. That's what this is. Old-fashioned shootout with two gunslingers at the helm as Phillip Rivers looks to take on the New Orleans Saints, and Drew Brees looks to break Johnny Unitas' long-standing record of most consecutive games with a touchdown pass, which he will do. He will break that record. And it's going to be an old-fashioned shootout. Two teams who like to score points and don't mind giving them up either. And so stay away from this game. No need in you showing up with a knife to a gunfight. You could get shot and lose your sole survivor pool. So stay out of it. Yes. The final matchup of Week 5. Monday Night Football pits the Houston Texans against the New York Jets. And you say to yourself, this is a nice matchup. Why not take the Texans? I'll tell you why you don't take the Texans. This is a trap game in every sense of the word. And I've gotten onto the Texans train before. Now, it's never had this much steam before, but I've gotten on that Houston Texans train before and have been let down. It's broken down on me, and I had to walk home. You don't want to get on that train. I'm telling you right now, you'll have your pants pulled down and have everybody pointing and laughing at you. I've had that done to me before. You don't want to go through that. I went through that, so you didn't have to go through that. So you don't go down that road that I went. Take the road less traveled. I've traveled down this road before, been embarrassed, been disappointed. This is a trap game. Everybody is leaning on the Texans. This is a no-brainer for everyone. Oh, the Texans are going to win. They're 4-0. They're playing great football. The Jets stink right now. They were demolished at home and embarrassed a week ago. They're in turmoil. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be moving forward. They've given Mark Sanchez the dreaded vote of confidence But we know if he stinks it up again, he'll probably be on the bench. But look, throw all that stuff out of the window. It's Monday night. Everybody says the Jets stink and they're going to lose. This is the perfect opportunity for them to rise from the ashes and snatch up and give the Texans their first loss of the season. I wouldn't go near this game if you paid me to. I've been on that Texans train before. Like I said, it broke down on me. I had to walk home. You don't want to go down that route. Leave the Texans alone in this one. Not saying that the Jets are going to win. Not saying that they're a lock to win. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they took care of the business at home in a surprise over the Houston Texans. And for that reason and that reason alone, I tell you to stay away from that game. If you want to take that game, that's on you. You do not have my blessing on that matchup. Do not have my blessing on that matchup. And so, without further ado, if you weren't listening before, I'll say it again. Your sole survivor for Week 5 is the New York Football Giants over the Cleveland Browns at home. The New York Giants are your sole survivor for Week 5. And so that's going to do it. That's a touchdown. Throw it up. We'll tack on this quick extra point. I am drooling to watch this broke special, the 30 for 30 broke, done by Billy Corbin that I missed yesterday. Everybody's been talking about it. I got it on DVR, so it's not a problem. I just need to sit down and watch it. And I can't wait. I'm going to watch it tonight. After I watch it, I'll be back to talk about it tomorrow. Because everybody was talking about it today. I felt left out. And it's NFL related. It's about players, blowing all of their dough. And that's what guys do in the league, man. It's amazing. It's mind-boggling to know at how high the percentage is of guys who are broke after their playing days are over with. These guys don't prepare for the future. They live in the present. And too often, it's too late when they realize that their money is gone. They entrust themselves to people who can't be trusted, who are only out for themselves and not in the best interest of the player. And so you got to be careful of who you surround yourself with. And this isn't just NFL players. This is people in general. You have to be careful of who you surround yourself with. Not everyone has your best interest at heart, especially when you have money, and people know that. I have a small, tight-knit circle. I keep it that way for a reason. You can't trust everybody. I don't trust many people. Hard to trust a lot of people because, people have ulterior motives a lot of times. They have an agenda that they're out to serve. And you never know what that is because they hide it well. And so while you might think that person is your friend, they might be looking for something that you have and they want to get their hands on. And so always be wary of the people you have around you. And don't tell your business. No need to let everyone know of all the things that you have. I think these players do that as well. They like to brag about the things that they have. And I know a lot of them come up from upbringings that are less than special. And so when you get some money, you always want to get the things that you always wanted. I can't knock them for that. I know when I finally do make it and get to where I want to be, there are a few items that I want that I just said, if when I get some money, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get it because that's something that I've always wanted. I understand that. But then there's doing that and then there's overkill. 8 cars, 3 houses, a summer house in Florida and 2 beach houses and then your regular house. Unnecessary money that's being spent on things that you don't need. 15 gold chains. Why? Not necessary. Again, but you can't tell people how to spend their money, but hopefully this documentary will speak volumes. I was on Twitter last night and it exploded with a lot of comments about it. Seemed like a lot of the players took that stuff to heart. But again, people live in the moment. And so when you're watching that and you see it, it affects you in the time being, in that moment, it affects you. But 2 hours later, it's already, been washed clean from your system and you're back to thinking the way you were thinking before you watched it. So it's one thing to see it, another thing to actually practice it and do it. And so guys just need to be smarter with their funds, be smarter with the company that they keep, and just be smarter about the investments and the things that they do with their money. Simple. Simple. It's easier said than done, though, I guess. That's going to do it for this episode of In the Lab Room. Thank you for joining me on today. Stay tuned for the NFL's Most Wanted as the sheriff comes back and gives you his blotter sheet from week 4. And I thank you for joining me. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook at In the Lab Room. You like me on Facebook. Check out the page. Every video that I've ever done, every episode of In the Lab Room is on my Facebook page. Also, check me out on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at In the Lab Room. That's the Twitter handle. I post daily shows on Twitter. Have a few comments as well. Check me out on Twitter. You can drop something in the inbox. I'm at inthelabroom@gmail.com. You know, I'd love to hear from you. And so with that being said, I thank you for joining me again. I want to see you back here, same time, same place. I'm out.